Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys a quick tour of a Geek's desk as promised. Right, so starting at the right here down in the corner we've got my camera bag. There's not a whole lot to it. I've just got my 28 to 80 in there and some audio monitoring equipment, and you can see the Zoom H1 is right there. It just sort of lays right there and kind of sways kind of back and forth depending on what I'm really planning on doing that day, and I usually bring it out with me pretty much wherever I go. It has the T3i in it. The T3i I can't show you because I'm actually filming with it right now, but I am planning on going out in the field. It's actually going to be the expected rain today, so I'm hoping to get a few good stock footage of that. Sorry about that quick jump cut, guys, but I kind of got a notification on Facebook that was actually not even directed at me. You ever comment on something and then 2 years later the person responds back, but it's to the person who commented before you, and you're wondering if you have to wait another 2 years for them to eventually respond to your question? But here you can see sort of my wall nerd. I'm kind of trying to build it up. I've got the Canon poster, which is picturing a better tomorrow, and I've got just the back panel of the PowerBook sort of ghetto taped up there. I'm hoping to get some other kind of mounting system for it, but I'm hoping to get some more posters so that I can have an interesting background for my vlogs. Right then, so right here you can see my reading material, a random phone charger and an iPhone charger, as well as the camera that I used to shoot with. I'm almost embarrassed to the point of taking down some of those videos. I thought that the DCR shot 1080p, and I ended up just making it look worse by going up to 1080p. But that's a mistake that I'm hopefully never going to make again with any other camera ever. But we've got this actually is my main Wi-Fi router, and I use that basically every day with my mobile setup. That's a good router. It's from 2000 and 2001-ish. I believe it's 802.11b, but the signal is so strong and it'll just go forever, unlike that piece of crap. You can't see it, I'd have to pull focus, but the piece of crap Comcast router that's actually provided by Comcast, it just doesn't reach far enough. Half the time that Wi-Fi does not, and it claims to be 802.11n, but this is actually some pretty decently fast Wi-Fi. It's around 2 megabit. So I pull focus, and what do we see? Well, you see my main lighting setup right there. And that's one of the things I love about the T3i, is the fact that it's possible to just sort of stop it down enough and turn the ISO low down so that you can get a good shot of the sun, for example. And these things, they may as well be the sun, because it's just quite insane. These are 1,000 watts. And they are just giant floodlights. I bought them for 30 bucks, and they're excellent lights. They will just light up an entire football field. I love them. They're sitting on a tripod, and they're just great for making videos. They're not too harsh, and they just kind of give it sort of a natural light effect. It's not as good as softbox, but I actually quite like making videos using this light. Now, if I draw your attention down here, you will see my tower with the external drives and an external USB floppy drive, which they are still making, and of course a random Linux CD, most likely Elementary OS, because that's what I was playing around with. I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of the inside of my tower right now. Okay, so here you can quite clearly see that there's a bunch of dust that's kind of caked up. I actually need to give this case a good cleaning because it's been a while. It's been sitting on carpet, so it's obviously built up a bunch of static. But here I've got the awesome multi-card reader that is built into, I guess, just about every single Asus tower. And here I've got a 500 gig external in the floppy drive, and here's the disk drive. Plug for the podcast. This was not planned, but you can check it out in the link down below once I get it up on iTunes. But let's just forget all that we've learned, shall we? And let's just risk blowing up my motherboard, and let's open this up. As you can clearly see is that I've got a cold cathode. They're not actually that bad as a lot of people make them out to be. And here we've got my 450 watt Antec power supply, a Antec fan, and the GTX 660. This is a beast of a card. Absolutely love it to bits. And then there's, of course, the quad-core i5 sort of hiding in the back there, just out of focus. Now, I think it's most likely with the lighting, because my light does not actually angle this far down in order to get this shot. But we've got a 1 terabyte hard drive and a separate 1 terabyte 2.5 inch drive that I'm using not in RAID, but I'm using it sort of as a backup drive for the 1 terabyte drive. And looking at my desk here, you can clearly see that I've kind of got a G-Hedo dual monitor setup going here. That monitor is the old 1280 by 1024 monitor that I've got sitting on a little table, which is actually quite convenient, because sometimes when I order food or I bring my dinner in here, I actually sometimes like to watch a movie like on iTunes. And I actually just got a new episode of Impractical Jokers on iTunes. It's free right now. But I enjoy watching a lot of movies on that second monitor, and that's really convenient. And also, I can sometimes just take it off of its little table and just watch my movie on the main big screen. That is a 24-inch Asus IPS LED monitor. It's really, really nice. It is so awesome. It's workstation grade colors. The colors of this matte display are just out of this world. They're like Apple Cinema display out of this world. And there you can see I've got my iPhone 4. It's really cracked up and everything. It's not connected to AT&T as of right now. I'm just sort of using it as an iPod. And for that, it works really, really well. And there's the Asus keyboard and the Asus mouse. They're not actually the worst keyboard and mouse combination in the world. I think that Apple holds that for their original iMac G3. That hockey puck mouse and those kind of like that chiclet keyboard that was built into, not built into, but it was kind of, it felt chiclet, but it was full size. I just did not enjoy that original iMac G3 keyboard at all. And on the shelf where I used to hold my cameras, I just keep random discs and retainers and stuff. And there's an Apple mouse pad, and moving over to the right, you can see that I've got sort of my mobile setup there. I've got a cell phone that's just really a crappy Verizon cell phone, and I've got this little light that I used to use as my main light until I got my beast of lights I'm using right now. I keep my hats right there on a hook, and there is a jar with all the money that I currently have in the world, and that is $4.47 in change. And this little mobile setup is actually running a bit of an interesting operating system. I'm going to link it down below where I do a full feature tour of it. But it's a bit temperamental, but it's running Elementary OS, which is kind of akin to Mac OS. It's fairly decent on the web. It's not the most speed demon. It's rocking a single core, but it's hyper-threaded. And there I've got the really terrible keyboard and mouse combination that I use with that. And last but not least, I've got the Walmart Special chair. This thing has been tore up, there's no padding left, and it's just kind of gone all to hell. It was a nice little chair at the time, and by now it's just kind of getting redundant to talk about it. It's just getting more and more terrible as time goes on. I continually have to tighten it, but I've had much worse chairs. I've used some terrible, I'm talking terrible office chairs before. Like, they're really cheap and like $20, that kind of terrible office chair. And I had that and I used it for like what was it, like 7 years I used that chair, until I finally leaned back in it one day and it just snapped completely off. So this chair I feel as though I'm getting quite a bit of hours out of, and I'm hoping that it will be with me for at least this next past year, so that I can at least, I'm saving up and I got a little bit of a project going on for the channel that I think you guys are going to want to see, and it's coming up in a later vlog. So that is pretty much it for this little tour of a geek's desk. I'll see you guys in the next video, and if you have any questions you can leave them in the comments, and until then, kick it.